Have you ever heard of the Cascadia Fault? If not, it's time to pay attention, because it could be responsible for the worst natural disaster to hit the United States in the 21st century. Imagine an earthquake so powerful that it topples entire cities and triggers a tsunami capable of crossing the Pacific Ocean. Sounds like an exaggeration, right? Well, brace yourself, because what you're about to discover is terrifyingly real. In this video, we're going to explore what this geological fault is, what it has done in the past, and why scientists believe it could cause a catastrophic event at any moment. We'll dive into the scientific details, predictions, and the possible consequences of an earthquake of apocalyptic magnitude. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and join us as we unravel why the Cascadia Megaquake is a ticking time bomb. First of all, let's understand what the Cascadia Fault is. Located along the western coast of North America, it stretches over 1,000 kilometers from Northern California to Vancouver Island in Canada. The fault is a subduction zone, which means it's where the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate is slowly being pushed beneath the North American plate. And here's where the problem begins. As these two plates meet, the Juan de Fuca plate is being forced downwards, but it's stuck, building up energy. It's like stretching a rubber band. Eventually, it will snap. And when it does, all that accumulated energy will be released at once, causing a devastating earthquake. To understand this better, let's go back in time. On January 26, 1700, a massive earthquake hit the region, with an estimated magnitude of 9.0. Yes, you heard it right, 9. To give you an idea, that's the same level as the earthquake that devastated Japan in 2011 and caused that catastrophic tsunami. The difference? Back then, the region was sparsely populated and there was no technology to monitor the event. But historical and geological records don't lie. Submerged forests, sunken lands, and tsunami reports from Japan proved that the Cascadia earthquake of 1700 was real. And now, over 300 years later, scientists are concerned that another event of this scale is overdue. These large Cascadia earthquakes tend to occur every 300 to 500 years. In other words, we are technically overdue for the next one. What worries scientists is that the fault has been silent for a long time, without releasing any of the built-up energy. And that's not a good sign. The question is no longer if it will happen, but when and how intense it will be. And here's a scary fact. Calculations suggest that there's a 10 to 15% chance of a megaquake, with a magnitude of 9, happening in the next 50 years. That might sound like a low probability, but compared to other seismic regions, like California, where the big one has a similar chance of occurring, it's cause for concern. But what exactly would happen if this catastrophe struck today? Let's start with the earthquake itself. It's estimated that when the fault finally gives way, the shaking could last between 4 and 5 minutes. Now, think about that, 5 minutes of relentless shaking, with enough force to demolish structures not designed to withstand it. Cities like Seattle, Portland, and even Vancouver would be hit hard. Buildings would collapse, bridges would break, and chaos would ensue. But that's just the beginning. The real nightmare starts after the earthquake. A mega tsunami would follow, with waves up to 100 feet high. Imagine a wall of water rushing towards the coast at high speed, sweeping everything in its path. And the worst part, coastal residents would have less than 15 minutes to escape. Places like the Olympic Peninsula in Washington and the Oregon coast, which are densely populated and have limited evacuation infrastructure, would be devastated. The waves could travel up to 100 miles inland, destroying homes, schools, hospitals, and everything else in their path. the tsunami wouldn't stop at the coast. Just like in 1700, it would cross the Pacific, reaching Japan, Hawaii, and other islands in the region, causing a disaster of global proportions. The economic and human impact would be unimaginable. And that's not even counting the domino effect. The destruction of port infrastructure would disrupt global trade, causing an economic crisis like never before. In light of all this, the question is, are we prepared? And the answer is more complicated than it seems. Despite all the predictions and warnings, preparation for an event of this magnitude is still lacking. Some coastal cities have evacuation routes, tsunami warning sirens, and shelters. But in practice, many of these measures have never been tested in a real emergency situation. Another issue is infrastructure. Most of the buildings and bridges in the Cascadia region were not designed to withstand a magnitude 9 earthquake. And even those that have been retrofitted recently may still not be enough. The lack of investment in improvements and the complexity of the problem make preparation a colossal challenge. Moreover, many residents don't even know they are at risk. Surveys show that a large portion of people living in the area are unaware of the Cascadia threat and do not have an emergency plan. In an event of this magnitude, every second counts, and lack of information could cost thousands of lives. So, what can be done? The answer starts with awareness and education. If you live in or know someone who lives on the west coast of the United States or Canada, share this video. The more people know about the risk, the better. But beyond that, there are some practical steps that can be taken. First, create an emergency kit with water, non-perishable food, medications, and other essentials. In a disaster situation, it may take days or even weeks for help to arrive. Having an evacuation plan is also crucial. If you live in at-risk areas, know where to go in case of an emergency and practice your evacuation route with your family. Furthermore, it's essential for the government and local authorities to invest in resilient infrastructure and early warning systems. A few seconds of warning can make the difference between life and death. And, of course, the scientific community must continue monitoring the fault and studying ways to better predict when a megaquake might occur. The Cascadia Megaquake is a reminder that, despite all our technology and progress, we are still vulnerable to the forces of nature. There's no way to stop an earthquake, but we can be prepared for when it happens. What do you think? Are we ready to face a catastrophe of this magnitude? And if you lived in the Cascadia region, what would you do? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about natural disasters and Earth's mysteries, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. See you next time, and until then, let's hope the Cascadia Fault stays quiet, at least for now.